we are going to try the best we can to look forward to Maryland. It's Maryland. That's the next game. It's Maryland, not Ohio State. Maryland. This episode of Locked On Wolverines.
You are Locked On Wolverines, your daily podcast on the Michigan Wolverines, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Friday. It's Friday. It's confusing. It's a road game. It's Friday. I'm your man at home, Isaiah Hole, publisher of Wolverines Wire. This is the Locked On Wolverines podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. As I said, I am your man at home because I'm not in the DMV as was originally planned. The flight was canceled. I mean, I think I could have handled the hour flight, but figured I was better served to cover the game from home this time around. So we are here. We are going to try to preview Maryland as best as we can without having honestly gotten too deep into the weeds about what Maryland presents. But that's the goal, and we're going to kind of say it in a frame that says this is what we're trying to see in advance of Guess Who, which comes up in 8 days. So that is the plan for today. I've got the CFB stats up so I can look at a couple different things here. Because, okay, number one, as I pull up total defense, the number one team is Ohio State. That's it. That's number one. But Michigan's faced some good defenses. I mean, this is a different story. They are allowing 212 yards per game. But again, Maryland. That's what we're trying to talk about is Maryland. Ohio State they've got a better defense right now than they did in 2019, but they were number one that year too. And yet Michigan managed just fine in that game if they could finish drives and had some defense due to some or maybe change some signals here and there. That would have helped them out a lot. But they hadn't, so that's where they were. But okay, Maryland. That's what we want to talk about is Maryland. Not the greatest defense in the world. 89th in the country, allowing their yards per play is not terrible at 5.46. When you look that up, that's 61st. So they're kind of a middling unit in terms of that. You consider that Northwestern is actually not as good in terms of that either. They're a little bit worse than Maryland. But where Maryland really does well is in the turnover margin. They're 12th in the country. That's the best team that Michigan will have faced in terms of that, as far as that's concerned. Total gain, they are 8th. And they have gotten 20 total turnovers. And as far as lost is concerned, they are 54th. They've lost 12. So they aren't turning the ball over a ton. They're +8 otherwise. So they're doing a pretty good job as far as that's concerned. Michigan was doing well earlier in the year and obviously has not been. So I think that's the big thing for Michigan here is just play a clean game. If Michigan doesn't have 5 turnovers, say it just has 1 turnover, well, and we can keep the 2 missed field goals. Let's say they have 1 turnover. I mean, Michigan probably wins by like 20 or 30 against Northwestern. So I think Maryland isn't as good. I think as Northwestern, it's I think that they're certainly better than MSU or Purdue. But I mean, it's kind of hard to quantify because they've lost all these games in a row. They won in the month of September, and then they just stopped. So it'll be interesting. There will be some motivation. Mike Locksley always seems to have his squad motivated for Michigan. Pep Hamilton's their offensive coordinator. And it wasn't like he was treated exactly great on his way out the door. Right. Michigan brings him in for essentially 2 years and then hires Josh Gaddis. And, but as he said, checks don't change. That's what he told me. Checks don't change. So that's going to be that, you can't really figure out what the motivation is going to be in terms of that. But at the same time, Maryland doesn't have anything they have one thing to play for. It's bowl eligibility. And you have to see, just is Michigan going to be able to withstand that? So offensively, Michigan's going to have to just be a lot smarter, a lot better. Getting some kind of mixed signals about whether or not we'll see Jordan Marshall. Kind of the early returns this week was like, yeah, he's not playing. It's going to be Bryce and Kozdal time. And now kind of hearing like, we might be seeing some Jordan Marshall. Might be actually seeing some. I'd prefer that we don't. That's where I'm at. I'd prefer that it's all Kozdal and Jasper Parker. But at the same time, you got to win the game. So whatever that's going to mean, that's the most important thing. What I would also like to see here is just the ability to continue to have the Bryce Underwood and Andrew Marsh connection. Because now that the cat's out of the bag, I kept on saying that on Voice of College Football earlier today. And that makes it harder when you don't have like this Ohio State, we've got 8 deep here. Obviously this could be a big Donovan McCulley game if, Maryland tries to take away, Andrew Marsh, but where they're a little bit better at pass defense than they are run defense. So this is kind of where I'd like to see Bryce and Kozdal get that opportunity. 104th in rush defense. As far as pass defense, they're 71st. It's not like crazy good, but I mean, or a crazy difference. But nonetheless, as far as that's concerned, Michigan's got to just not turn the ball over, play a cleaner game. And I would like to see just the continued emergence of the pass game, maybe other options. This could be let's see some Zach Marshall get involved again, but without breaking the bank in terms of the playbook, right? Like you don't want to just start busting out every single thing that you had saved, but that's not how it works anyway, right? Like they'll use the plays they practice this week, right? Then they'll practice the plays they have for Ohio State next week. That's how that works. There's a lot of misconceptions about how that works. But I think that it will be interesting just to see in terms of pass defense. Like I said, they're 71st. And Michigan State, who Michigan didn't pass the ball that great against, is ranked higher than them. Again, that was part and parcel due to just Bryce and his happy feet. Michigan passed okay against USC, which is 43. Didn't pass well against Oklahoma, 37. Passed great for the most part against number 31 Northwestern, who was 18, I believe, going into the game last week, if memory serves. So again, this is all part of the dress rehearsal for Ohio State. You just got to emerge unscathed, healthy, and you just want to see as few mistakes. But I think that the bigger challenge is not the Michigan offense versus the Maryland defense. It's the other way around, even though that's been a struggle as well. Let's talk about the Maryland offense versus the Michigan defense. And let's do that here in just a moment. But before we do, college football is back, and I couldn't be more excited. The tailgates, the rivalries, the energy in the stands, and college football's been back. I don't know why I say it that way. There's just nothing like it, but let's be real. Actually, getting tickets can feel like more of a battle than the game itself. Endless queues, hidden fees, prices jumping at checkout. That's why I use GameTime, the app that gives the advantage back to fans. It's the easiest way to score last-minute tickets at the best prices with no surprise fees. What you see is what you pay. Let's do like we do occasionally here. And let's just go to GameTime, and I'm going to tell you exactly what you can do. So I'm going to search up Maryland football, and you got Michigan at Maryland deals available. I mean, you can get in the door for $53 actually. $53 to get in the door at the Michigan Maryland game. If you want to sit a little closer, you can sit like in the end zone corner for like $73, $85, get real close to the action, 91. You want right at the 50-yard line, like the sixth row, $134. Actually, it's like the 45-yard line, but you're right there. And that's essentially the side no, that's not the Michigan side. It says visitors. Yeah, that's the Michigan section. Other side, you're looking at 134 at like the 25-yard line. Great deals to get in and see. And there's tons of them. $87 at the 15-yard line in row K. I'm telling you, it's Game Time has got it. So take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today. All right, let's continue on here as we start to discuss the Maryland offense, which isn't necessarily ranked very high. It's 103rd in the country, which is like 62 spots lower than where Michigan is. So, but it's kind of like Purdue. Purdue wasn't ranked that high, but like it was a potent offense, and you knew that going in. It's certainly much more potent in the pass game than it is in the run game, but 2 weeks ago, they had 305 yards rushing in the loss to Rutgers and couldn't pass the ball at all. So they've shown in one circumstance they can run the football. In one, they had 152 against Towson, but otherwise against teams with a pulse. I mean, they've had a couple where they've gotten over 100, 112 against FAU, 116 against Nebraska, 127 against UCLA. That's it. Otherwise, like Indiana 37, Illinois 55, Wisconsin 61, Washington 55. This should be a game where Michigan creates that run wall. I don't know if they'll hold them to 37 or less, but fewer rather. But I think that nonetheless, like this should be a game where Michigan should have no problem stopping the run. And you want to see that, right? Like, because I want to remind you as we think about next week, that the team that runs the football better has tended to win the game. Now, Ohio State's gotten better at running the football in the last few weeks. I still don't know that, like, I mean, who have they played, right? Like, that's the big thing. It's like, okay, well, they're playing UCLA and they ran the football fine against UCLA. What ended up being a bad Penn State team, whatever, right? Like, that's kind of hard to quantify or qualify. It's passing the football that Malik Washington, fellow true freshman, has been a little bit more prolific than Bryce Underwood on a week-by-week basis. So that's where they have to kind of mind their P's and Q's here. I don't know why I'm being so folksy with the axioms here. Idioms, rather. They only had one game under 200 and something, right? Under 210. And that was against Rutgers when they rushed for 305, but only threw for 98. Otherwise, he's had 210 yards in every game and plus. So I think that this is a really good dress rehearsal for Michigan in that light to see, like, okay, what are they going to be able to do through the air? Now, a little bit younger than Julian Sand, not as prolific, but 64th ranked passing offense. So it's not super prolific per se, but it's still a good dress rehearsal. And it's a good opportunity, before they face number 19 Ohio State in terms of passing offense. They've got some really good receivers at Maryland. As the coaches were saying, the thing is about the Wink Martindale is talking about that on Wednesday. It's like they're really athletic, like they can break them on you, like they keep you up at night, and things of that nature. So I think the big thing for Michigan here is to continue to do what it did kind of late last year and be great at, then they've been middling this year, but be great at stopping them on third downs. Now, Maryland, not like the greatest third down conversion team in the world here. They're 109th in the country as far as that's concerned. And Michigan's actually surprisingly offensively pretty good at that, 36th. So they have to figure out how to do that. So opponent third down conversion, as far as the defense is concerned, Michigan is 45th. So I think better than they were last year, I would imagine. Yeah, they were 88th last year. So just get off the field on third down. That's the important thing. And sorry for the constant, these are the flow of consciousness here of like, ooh, I want to know that and explore that with you. And to have the actual numbers is more important than me doing what I normally do, which is like, I think they're around here. So I think the big thing for the Wolverines here is to just be able to do what pretty much most teams have been able to do against Maryland in the run game, And you'd like to see them. You're probably not going to hold him to a season low in the pass game, which, again, when they ran for 305 yards, they passed for just 98. That's probably not possible, but like hold them to the lowest that they can. So now you've like I've said in the weeks prior, it's the final dress rehearsal. And what I really want to see in this game is just crispness, sharpness. I'd love to see a redux of kind of how that 2021 version went, where everything finally kind of came together and you sat there and said, wow, Michigan just took it to what was like an okay, but not great Maryland team. And instead of what the 22 and 23 games have been, you want to see Michigan come out and just be like, all right, let's party. Like, we can put this all together too. You know, kind of like last year against Northwestern, just like suddenly like the dam breaks and they're bringing with confidence. And as much as my compatriots over on the squad, who plan is, by the way, to be on that show a lot more. Couldn't do it this week because it was taped at the same time as the basketball game. But, get to this point where, like, okay, no one believes that you can beat Ohio State, but you do. That's the most important thing. You'd think people would learn at some point that it doesn't really matter how good or how bad Michigan is at this stage. They have Ohio State's number, but Michigan has to believe that it still has Ohio State's number in order to have Ohio State's number. So what do I think is going to happen in the game? That's a loaded question, but we'll get to that here in just a moment. But before we do, the NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you miss the start of a game, you want to ride that hot hand, whatever you want to do. FanDuel has live bets from everything that will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team is making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, we'll keep this short and sweet as we try to do with the preview shows. And honestly, obviously, we're thinking ahead. We're thinking about what's happening in 8 days. That's kind of where my head's at. And before you come in here and start, granted, I won't see your comments, to be honest. But before you can start coming here, we gotta focus on Maryland. Like, okay, that's like that's the Uncle Phil. we, we can do whatever we want. Like, it's up, Michigan's got to focus. One of the concerns I have is the youth of this team for Michigan in a game like this, because I think like you've seen some teams that aren't as youthful have a little bit more of a stumble in the week before the Ohio State game. Like some of it's like the 2023 wasn't because they were looking ahead. It's JJ McCarthy hadn't practiced all week and then is out there. I mean, you heard Jack talk about it. He thought he was starting that Maryland game in 2023. It's sometimes it's stuff like that, right? Where injuries play a role. Illinois was a tough team. People kind of like gloss over that. Like, Illinois was like a ranked team. They were a very good team at the time that they played. Blake Corum, their defense was top notch. It was ranked better than Michigan in 2022. And Michigan drove the field with ease in the first drive. And then there was about to score again, just to remind you. And Blake Corum gets hurt. And that kind of changed the calculus of that game. But that's a little bit different because that was a tougher team to play the week before Ohio State. So there was that, but this is just, you want to see Michigan just be better than it's been for the last month and a half, essentially, or really the whole year. And I think the defense was incredible. Like, I think we gloss over this too much. Even though they gave up 22 points, I mean, they were in several, literally 5 sudden change moments, and they kept on holding Northwestern to field goal after field goal. Couple letdowns, particularly the one after the one Bryce interception where it was returned to the 6th. The next play, they gave up the touchdown. I mean, otherwise, they gave up 2 touchdowns in that game. And the defense was very good. The offense outside of those turnovers was also very good. So you just got to clean those things up, and you want to see the killer instinct. Now, here's the thing is, and I don't have it on me real quick. I don't know if I can pull it up real quick. Let's see. I've been wrong. I've been right. I think I didn't predict the USC game because I just kind of didn't have a feel for that. If memory serves, maybe I did, but I don't think I did. I didn't predict in print the Oklahoma game, but I went on Locked On National and said that I was predicting Oklahoma to win that game. So I've been right, I think, for the most part, in the outcome of every game. I have been wrong in as far as what I've put in print on the over, under, and the spread. I think every single game this year, I'm pretty sure it's been every single game, has gone differently than I have expected in terms of, at any game that I've been like, yeah, this spread's going to be, that's too much. It's just gone the other way every time. So it's been kind of hilarious because it's like at some point I need to go against type. But as far as the game outcome, the winner, I've been correct on every game. And like I said, I didn't pick the USC game, at least not on paper. Kind of didn't know what to expect. And that's kind of where that came from. So Michigan, Maryland, FanDuel has that at a 13.5 spread and over under a 46.5. What I would think right now, I would say Michigan will beat the spread and that will be an over. But like I just told you, I've been incorrect on every single one. So if I have to give you a score prediction, I think you're going to see a more complete Michigan effort this week. I think they will look galvanized, and I think that you're going to finally see things kind of, okay, this is kind of what we've been hoping to see. And I know I think Maryland will end up having some big plays through the air. I think they're going to get shut down in the run. I think there will be some moments where people are kind of like, oh, this isn't going to work against Ohio State and, whatever. Like, forget how the 2021 game works. As long as Michigan can keep teams out of the end zone and force them into field goals. And I mean, even some are going to get in the end zone. That's just going to happen next week. Probably going to happen this week too. If I was to guess, I'm going to say it's 31-14, which would actually put it as the under. Am I right there? Yeah, so that would be the under. I'd have Michigan with the spread and the under. So you can say that Maryland's probably going to cover and it's going to go over. It's probably how that's going to go. But that's going to be my official prediction. Michigan 31-14. I think that they'll finish more drives. That would, equate to 4 touchdowns and a field goal for Michigan. And I think they'll just look crisper. They'll probably still turn the ball over. I'll say they'll turn the ball over twice. I think they'll stall out here and there. But ultimately, I think that they'll, I think Maryland plays a style of game that isn't like Northwestern, where every possession's a premium and all that kind of stuff. Now, again, like I've been saying for the weeks leading up, each one of these games that they've been in prepares you for Ohio State. And honestly, I think that's also where it's been good that the Purdue game, and I know that this is kind of like counterintuitive thinking, the Purdue game, the Northwestern game being close, I think that that's good for Michigan, because what that's allowed is for Michigan to understand, like, if we're in a dogfight, we can still find a way to get out of this. We can still come away with the win. And the goal, if you're, when you're playing Ohio State, especially with where these two teams are at the moment, is to be in a dogfight. Like, that's what you want in that game, because the chances of it being like, Michigan's got a good lead at the half or anything like that. I mean, Michigan hasn't really had like a good lead at the half in any of these games against Ohio State. So it's just keeping it within striking distance is the most important thing next week, right? And that's always the important thing against Ohio State, because they can score in bunches. So, and then they get you out of your offense, and then teams are throwing the ball and all that kind of stuff. So if you're Michigan, you want to be able to show that you can play a crisper game. Number one, that your offense can be way more cohesive from top to bottom. That means getting those types of yards, but finishing with getting in the end zone. then having it be as close to a reprise of the Northwestern game. I don't think it's going to quite get there, but I think it will end up being a comfortable win this week, in hopes that next week can be even better, that guys kind of rise to the occasion, and that the coaches have some things up their sleeve that make that kind of work for them, which has seemed to also be the case. So, all right, that's it. I think, yeah, that's it. Thanks for playing along. Enjoy the game. I will be here at home, as said. So if you're going to the game, enjoy. Sorry for those like William Cawthorne, who I will not be able to meet this weekend. But we will see you on another time. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Peace.